very, very quickly. If somebody has a game that they paid $5.99 for, and then a week later it's free, all of a sudden the perceived value of your app just drops to the floor, and they're probably going to leave.
I disagree with that. Temple Run was launched first game, priced game, and then they actually were failing, and they dropped the price to 0. And that's when Temple Run took off.
So that's kind of the question I had around where you switched from the strategy. You said the game's designed to be a paid game, but then they dropped it to free and made more money. So it's kind of like you may design it one way, but it works better another way.
Yeah, actually you're right. I mean, my take is that don't chase exceptions. These exceptions happen, for some reason. I don't chase exceptions. Because exception will be there for any genre, any topic that we're talking about. So that's how I do it.
I have a question regarding the monetization strategies for life sciences and healthcare. Have you seen any great examples for that?
That's a great question. I would say on the app side, I haven't really seen a really spectacular job on the app. I've seen a lot of really good examples of them selling hardware that go alongside with it. And then they'll price the hardware and they say use the app. They use the smartphone as either the connection or the interface. But I haven't seen like where you put your thumb up to your camera and it gives you your pulse. I haven't seen something that really is spectacular and is super useful. I've seen a couple like glucose monitors that I thought were really well done, but I haven't seen anything that's going to change the world.
Did you want to say something? Because I really I have to appreciate that the point that you're actually making a point of monetization of those healthcare apps. I was at WWDC this year, and I met so many developers who are making these awesome apps. Like they are so well produced, like it was mind blowing. And I kept asking them, how do you plan to make money on this? And they were not even interested in that conversation. And it left me with a question mark. I'm like, are you going to give it away for free? I mean, how do you've done such a great engineering job at it, but have you? So I want to first commend you for actually raising that question, because from my experience, I was very astonished that no one was actually paying attention to how they're going to make money off it. And those doctors are getting those for free, which I do not personally agree with.
How dare those doctors? How dare they try and protect us and help us?
Without making, they should give us a cut of their revenue that they make off our health.
I think Jake's going to be back.
I have a question actually from the Twitter feed. I think the question was asked largely in jest, but I think it's probably an important thing for us to dig into. There's no question that the failure side is higher for Capcom and for CBS when your titles are so plentiful and your IP is robust. How do you make money as a startup without that IP, without the existing audience to cross-promote and to drive installs? How do you make money with a small audience to make a bigger audience to make a bigger profit?
I've been in games for a long time now. I will not say how many years. But one thing I learned long back from one of my mentors, and he said, content is king. So I always say that no matter what, there will be a supercell that will come from nowhere and leave us all dusting behind. And part of it is that they do something exceptional, they do something which is cutting edge, innovative, and which might just change the way, in fact, we'll follow them in those spaces versus they follow us. So I think that for every developer, the basic question should be, what am I creating? Who is this made for? And is this awesome enough?
Yeah, keep in mind, big companies, they have to go and show their shareholders what the bottom line is. So that's why you're going to see sequel after sequel from some of these big guys. And there's 17 versions of Madden. And there's a reason there's another one that's going to come out next year and it's going to sell 1 billion copies. But there's going to be a 2-person shop that comes up with indie football, and they do something totally that we've never thought of before. It's from the first-person point of view of football or something spectacular. And that's going to be the next thing that Madden copies in 2 years. So indie developers go by their content. Your content's going to be king. If you're doing something that's spectacular, push the envelope, because that's something that the big guys can't do. The big guys have to answer to their board of directors or to their boss's boss's boss, and they're going to say, this isn't successful, why are you doing this? Whereas an indie developer can go with it, run with it.
So actually, that's an interesting segue. One of the questions I had was,
No, sorry. No, it's a great point, and obviously I'm not an expert in this area because I work for big companies. But what I would also say too is look at the competitors out there. I mean, a lot of it is we talk about what can I be doing better, and you know, what can I offer, and I have these great skills and this great idea. But a lot of times, because the game space, the app space is so cluttered, you know, my goal in life, because mobile is my life now, is that we want to declutter the space. And you have to, I feel like any developer needs to find a niche and identify a need and fill it. And especially because, you know, if it's filling to pass time and developing games, or if it's going to be utilitarian that's going to fulfill a need of when I'm lost or something, you know, location or anything like that that is going to provide value to the user, that is really something that when I talk to developers or when someone comes in and pitch me stuff, I always say, how are you doing this differently from X? And that should always be your first, you know, your first response or your first rebuttal to anybody who asks, why are you doing this? Because no one else does it, or someone else does it, but they don't do this, and that's what I do.
That seems like a good place to wrap up. Thank you guys very much for being a great first panel. That was a great conversation. A couple things, a little bit of housekeeping here. We're going to take about 2 minutes and add a couple more chairs in the back. If you want to take a second and grab coffee, courtesy of our coffee break sponsor, Fixu, they would much appreciate all that coffee being gone, so you don't have to take it home with them. Sorry, I left. The bar is going to be on Fixu. The next panel, the platform panel, will start in about 5 minutes. The bathroom's right down the corner if you need to take a quick break. And that's it. Great. Thank you, guys.